Dear chosen ones, have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt like you had just returned from somewhere sacred, but couldn't quite explain it? As if something eternal touched you in the night, whispered to your soul, and vanished before your mind could hold on. Do you ever feel like you're walking around with invisible instructions sealed inside you, just waiting for the right moment to unfold? That tug in your spirit, that sense that something happened, even if you can't recall it, is not your imagination. It's not emptiness. It's evidence that your spirit is engaged in something divine while your body sleeps. What if the forgetting isn't failure, but divine design? What if your dreams are being hidden on purpose to shield them from interference until the exact moment you're ready to carry them into reality? You see, this isn't just about sleep or memory. This is about your calling. This is about your soul's training ground. Because chosen ones aren't prepared in plain sight. They're shaped in silence. They're refined in places the world never sees. And if you've always felt like you were born for something more, something deeper, something unexplainable, it's because you were. You're not imagining the weight you carry. You're not wrong to feel out of place in this world. There is something in you that has always known. You were set apart. And today you're going to learn why forgetting your dreams might be the clearest sign that your destiny is too powerful to be processed all at once. What's been slipping away each morning isn't lost. It's being stored, protected, preserved until the moment heaven says, now. But before we go any further, I want to pause and say thank you, truly, to every one of you who has supported this message through a super thanks. Your generosity helps these words reach the people who need them most. And even if you didn't donate, I need you to know something clearly. I'm just as grateful for your presence. Whether you give or not, your spirit being here matters. Your energy is felt. Your alignment is not overlooked. So if this resonates with something deep inside you, if you feel your soul rising already, take a moment and type 999 in the comments. That number isn't random. It's the code of the one who walked away from the crowd, who broke free from the herd, who was found by God and called by purpose. That number is a signal, a confirmation that you're one of the few who were never meant to blend in, but to awaken the world. Get ready, because what you're about to hear may explain everything you felt but never had the words for. This is more than a message, it's a spiritual unveiling. The forgotten realm of your dreams has been calling. And now it's time to remember what your soul has always known. Let's begin. God's chosen ones, the secret behind forgetting your dreams. There is a realm behind your eyelids that most people dismiss, yet it is more tangible and eternal than anything you can see with your eyes open. It is not fantasy, nor illusion. This dimension is not built from dreams, it builds them. If you're reading this, chosen one, it means you've already traveled this sacred terrain. Even if you don't remember where you went, even if all you wake up with is a pounding heart, a fading whisper, or a lingering emotion you can't quite name, you've been there. And it wasn't a dream, it was a visitation, a summoning, a divine encounter cloaked in mystery. Have you ever wondered why some dreams feel more real than reality itself? Why your soul feels tired after sleeping? Why certain images stay with you long after your mind lets them go? That's because you didn't just see something, you were seen. You weren't just visiting a vision, you were being positioned. God's chosen ones walk different paths, even in sleep. Your dreams are not escapes from life. They are entrances into your purpose. You're not drifting aimlessly in your sleep. You're being summoned into higher places, into meetings beyond time, into instructions you don't yet have the language to translate. What if I told you that while your body rests, your spirit travels? That while your mind sleeps, Your destiny is being whispered over you in tongues too holy for this dimension. In those moments, angels are not just around you, they are watching you. Frequencies realign around your presence. And the most powerful part? You are fully aware while it's happening, but on a level your conscious brain cannot yet access. The Bible gives us glimpses of this mystery. In Job 33:14 through 16 it says, "For God speaks again and again, though people do not recognize it. He speaks in dreams, in visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on people as they lie in their beds. He whispers in their ears and terrifies them with warnings." Your dreams are not by chance, they are messages, some too divine for you to remember in detail. But just because your mind can't recall them doesn't mean your spirit didn't receive them. Have you ever woken up with a sudden understanding, a decision made, or an unshakable sense of direction? That's not intuition, that's revelation your spirit already downloaded. Take Joseph, the son of Jacob, as an example. His entire future was revealed through dreams he didn't fully understand. When he first saw images of sheaves bowing or stars aligning, he couldn't decode it. But the dream had already sealed his destiny. Or think about Harriet Tubman. She spoke often of dreams and visions guiding her on dangerous missions to rescue slaves. She wasn't hallucinating, she was receiving encrypted assignments from heaven. Or how about Albert Einstein, who credited one of his most revolutionary insights, the theory of relativity, to a vivid dream he had as a young man. Even Martin Luther King Jr.'s most iconic words, "I have a dream," were rooted in divine revelation that burned brighter than logic. So why don't you remember your dreams clearly, chosen one? Because your mind, limited by time and form, cannot yet hold what your spirit already knows. God is not careless with revelation. He does not pour deep mysteries into shallow vessels. Proverbs 25:2 reminds us, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings." There are things hidden in your spirit, not to tease you, but to train you. Some truths are too weighty for your current self to carry. So, they are sealed in the spirit, encoded beyond the reach of your conscious thoughts, preserved until you have grown strong enough to carry them without breaking. You've probably wondered why certain dreams felt life-altering, yet faded within minutes. Why do some images feel sacred but dissolve before you can hold on to them? That's not failure, that's divine strategy. The dreams are working, just not in the way you expect. They are pulling you forward, not with clarity, but with mystery. And mystery is what makes you move. Have you noticed that when you don't know exactly what something means, you begin searching harder, listening more intently, seeking more deeply? That's because God often leads chosen ones not with full sight, but with holy echoes. Isaiah 55:9 tells us, "As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." You were never meant to understand everything at once. You were meant to trust the process of revelation. Consider Nikola Tesla, who claimed that his inventions came to him fully formed in dreams. He would see the design, understand the mechanisms, and wake up with blueprints in his mind. Tesla wasn't just imagining, he was tapping into the divine. Even Native American shamans speak of dream walking, traveling into the spirit realm to receive healing instructions or future insights. They knew something the modern world forgot, that the invisible is not imaginary, it is foundational. Now here's something most don't realize. Some dreams are hidden from your memory on purpose. You're not forgetting because you're weak. You're forgetting because heaven is still hiding what hell is hunting. You're carrying strategies, codes, divine revelations that the enemy would love to decode. And if you remembered too much too soon, it would expose the very coordinates of your destiny. This is not forgetfulness. This is warfare, spiritual stealth. Chosen ones are often under spiritual protection that looks like confusion, but it's not confusion. it's covering. Psalm 91:11 declares, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." You are being guarded even when you don't realize it, guarded even from your own memories, because what you carry is not for now, it's for when the moment arrives. And when it does, you won't need to remember the dream. The dream will remember you. The atmosphere will align, the people will appear, the door will open, and suddenly you'll know exactly what to do, because your spirit already rehearsed it. Chosen one, you are not disconnected. You are not wandering blindly. You are on assignment even when asleep. And your dreams, they are not forgotten. They are stored, protected, carried in the marrow of your being. Don't be discouraged by forgetfulness. Don't confuse silence for absence. You are still being guided, still being refined, still being prepared, and the veil will lift when the time is right. So, have you been sensing that something is trying to reach you through your sleep? Do you ever feel like you're being watched, but not in fear, in reverence? Do you feel like parts of you already know what's coming, even if your mind doesn't? These are not random feelings. They are signs of awakening, signs that the dream world is not done with you. Ephesians 1:17-18 says, "That the God of our Lord Jesus Christ may give you the spirit of wisdom and revelation, that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you." You are being enlightened piece by piece, not to satisfy curiosity, but to fulfill calling. What you cannot remember yet is not lost. It is growing inside you, waiting for the fullness of time. What happens when the veil begins to lift, chosen one? What unfolds when the dreams you once forgot begin to flood back into your consciousness? Not in fragments, not in fog, but with clarity, intensity, and divine timing. That moment is not in the distant future. It's closer than your logic will admit. And when it arrives, your entire reality will shift. You won't just sense that you've been chosen. You will walk in that truth with full authority. No more questioning. No more hesitation, just revelation and response. Have you noticed how certain moments feel eerily familiar, as if you've already lived them in a dream? That's not coincidence. That's memory catching up to destiny. You must understand this. While the world around you slips into unconsciousness, the spiritual realm becomes fully alert. The moment your eyes close in sleep, something ancient, something divine begins to stir. For others, sleep is rest. But for the chosen, sleep is initiation. Sleep is access. Sleep is entry into a sacred battlefield. Each night as your body lies still, your spirit rises. And the moment it rises, it becomes visible, not just to heaven, but also to the darkness that has long tracked your light. Have you felt that weight in your sleep? That pressure that comes from being noticed in realms unseen? Ephesians 6:12 reveals a deeper layer of this truth. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You are not just dreaming, you are warring. And the enemy? He doesn't attack at random, he targets with precision. He doesn't fear who you are now, he fears who you're about to become. He sees your future influence, your spiritual authority, your capacity to awaken others. And his mission is simple: stop you before you wake up fully. This is why your dreams are more than imagination. They are battlegrounds. Chosen one, has your sleep ever been interrupted by a sudden jolt, a racing heart, a cold sweat, or an invisible presence pressing down on your chest? Have you ever sensed eyes watching you from the corner of your dreams? Heard a voice begin to speak only for it to vanish before the name was revealed? That's not just sleep paralysis. That's not just fear. That is spiritual interference. That is confirmation that you're carrying something hell is desperate to sabotage. You only get robbed when you're carrying something valuable. And if your dreams are under siege, it's because your destiny is a threat. Take Frederick Douglass, for instance. Before he became one of the most powerful abolitionist voices of his generation, he described vivid, tormenting dreams as a child, visions he later came to understand as warnings and preparation. Joan of Arc, the teenage warrior saint of France, began receiving prophetic dreams in her youth that would later direct her military strategy and change a nation's history. Even Maya Angelou spoke of intense spiritual dreams guiding her poetry and public voice. And in more modern times, people like Jim Carrey, often underestimated, have testified to waking visions and dreams that mapped out their success long before it was visible. So, why does it feel like some dreams are stolen? Why do you wake up drained, confused, or unsure what just happened? Because the enemy doesn't waste time on the asleep. He launches chaos at the awakened. When your spirit begins to remember who you are, hell begins to react. The more you wake up, the more resistance you feel. That's why the warfare increases the closer you get to divine clarity. You're not weak, chosen one. You're targeted. And that targeting is proof that what you carry is sacred. 1 Peter 5:8 warns us, "Be alert and of sober mind." Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. But the enemy isn't prowling in broad daylight. He's prowling in your night seasons, trying to insert fear and confusion before the day even begins. That dream you thought was random, it was targeted. That nightmare that clung to you all morning, it was strategy. The emotional heaviness you couldn't shake, residual warfare. But here's the mystery, the divine plot twist that sets you apart. You're not alone in this. Your dreams are not vulnerable. God has encrypted them. He has hidden them like sacred scrolls, only to be unlocked when your spirit is mature enough to read what's written. God does not expose purity to pollution. He protects it. And what feels like forgetting is actually divine firewalls at work. You're not weak, you're being guarded. Psalm 121, 5-6 declares, "The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night." That means even when you sleep, He shields, He encrypts, He conceals the most potent revelations until the time is safe. Why? Because if the enemy could fully see what's coming for you, he'd launch an attack beyond what your current self could endure. So instead, God trains you in darkness. He strengthens you through mystery. He lets your life slowly catch up to the blueprint buried within your spirit. Consider the example of Nikola Tesla again. His dreams were so advanced that he couldn't even explain them until his waking mind had evolved to understand what his spirit already knew. Oprah Winfrey has also spoken of intuitive downloads, unexplainable understandings of where to go and what to say that originated in dreamlike meditative states long before her empire ever existed. These individuals didn't stumble upon greatness. They remembered what had already been shown to their spirit. So how does God train you, chosen one? He lets you walk through seasons of silence where you feel like nothing is happening, yet everything is happening behind the veil. He lets your spiritual muscles grow strong under the weight of mystery. And just when you think you've forgotten the dream forever, the exact experience, opportunity, or word shows up in real life, and your spirit responds like it's already been there, because it has. John 16:13 reminds us, "But when He, the Spirit of truth, comes, He will guide you into all the truth, and He will tell you what is yet to come." You are not stumbling through life. You are being divinely led. You are not forgetting key details. You are being spiritually matured. And when the time is right, the scroll will unroll, the veil will lift, and you will realize the dream didn't disappear. It was simply waiting for your spirit to be strong enough to carry it into action. Chosen one, this is why the dream hasn't been wasted. It's been planted, hidden in your bones, etched in your soul, and every night the war continues, not just to remember, but to protect. So the next time you wake up feeling like you've been somewhere far away, don't dismiss it. Recognize it, honor it. Because even when your conscious mind forgets, your spirit never does. The blueprint is intact, the encryption is holy, and the God who gave you that dream is still guarding it until the moment it will explode into reality. And so, have you ever felt like something powerful is stirring beneath your surface just out of reach? Have you ever had moments where life seemed to echo a scene you thought you dreamed? Have you ever sensed that your greatest clarity comes not in speech, but in silence? That's not your imagination. That's your anointing trying to awaken. The enemy may try to blur your dreams, but he cannot cancel your calling. Because when God hides something inside a chosen one, it is beyond the reach of darkness. And you, chosen one, are not dreaming. You are remembering. Even in sleep, chosen one, you are not being comforted. You are being carved. You are not being lulled. You are being leveled up. The battle you've been fighting in your dreams isn't punishment. It's refinement. Heaven isn't just watching you as you rest. It's shaping you. Each dream that was stolen didn't leave you empty. It created space for deeper hunger. Each night you woke up exhausted from invisible wars wasn't a loss. It was an investment. You were gaining spiritual muscle. The conflict didn't destroy you. It prepared you. And now, every clash in the dark is birthing a fire in your spirit so intense that when you finally awaken in full, there won't be any question about who you are. And the enemy knows this. That's why he's increasing the pressure. He senses it before you do. Your awakening is near, and it terrifies him. Have you felt it lately? That your sleep feels more like labor than peace? That instead of dreams, you wake up with fragments, scenes that dissolve, emotions that linger, sounds that fade too quickly to catch? That's not just disruption, it's resistance. But what the enemy fails to understand is that his attacks are becoming your curriculum. You're starting to recognize his patterns. You're gaining discernment, not from textbooks, but from spiritual warfare. You're remembering what your mind can't recall. You're seeing what your eyes have never seen. Because your spirit, chosen one, is storing wisdom that transcends human memory. What feels like forgetting is really safekeeping. You didn't lose it, it's just not time yet. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Even the weapons formed in your dreams cannot prosper. The enemy may infiltrate your sleep, but he cannot infiltrate your destiny. Every battle you fought in the dark was a rehearsal for your divine emergence. And what's coming back to you isn't just a memory, it's a revelation. A dream might fade, but when it returns as revelation, it carries power, authority, clarity. That's what changes the battlefield. The moment the chosen begin to awaken, they don't just remember, they activate. But here's the twist. Activation doesn't always look like dramatic visions or loud awakenings. Sometimes it looks like silence, a vibration in your chest, a soft whisper that says, "Something shifted last night," even though you can't explain how or what. Has that happened to you? That you wake up and can't recall the details of your dream, but deep inside you feel different, like you were handed something sacred? That's not confusion. That's transformation. That's your soul moving beyond words, beyond imagery, into alignment. Think of Helen Keller, born both blind and deaf, yet she developed a deep spiritual awareness that guided her life beyond anything her senses could perceive. She once said, "I sometimes think that we do not realize the capacity of our spirits." That's your reality now. You are no longer relying on the outer senses. You are operating from your soul. Or consider the prophet Daniel. His dreams and visions were so powerful, he often didn't understand them right away. Yet they lived in him and unfolded in appointed times with precision and power. Or Florence Nightingale, who credited her dreamlike visions with pushing her into public health reform, even when others called her mad. These were not fantasies. These were assignments received in the quiet realms of spirit. 1 Corinthians 2:10 confirms this mystery. These are the things God has revealed to us by his Spirit. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. Your spirit is receiving things your mind can't yet articulate. You're not falling behind. You're being called deeper. And that's why the clarity isn't coming through vivid recall, but through internal alignment. Your soul knows. And when the soul knows, words are no longer the primary language. Frequency is. That's the reason you've been feeling different lately. Your environment feels too small. Conversations feel too shallow. Activities that once entertained you now feel empty. Why? Because you're outgrowing the old versions of yourself. The shift isn't just happening in your sleep, it's happening in your identity. You're becoming more tuned to who you were always meant to be. This is not a breakdown, it's recalibration. Your subconscious has stopped operating in survival mode. It's syncing with something eternal, something divine, something ancient yet familiar. You are not evolving randomly. You are remembering deliberately. Romans 13:11 tells us, "And do this, understanding the present time. The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber, because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed." Wake up doesn't mean just physical awareness. It means spiritual readiness. And that's what's happening to you. Your soul is awakening. Your old habits are losing power. Your former fears are losing relevance. Because God is no longer speaking to you only through dreams and symbols. He's now speaking through shifts, through knowing, through a reordering of your spiritual frequency. Even Oprah Winfrey has shared how before major moments in her life, she'd experience internal shudders, not dreams with pictures, but powerful inner shifts. These were signs that her spirit was aligning with something enormous. And when she followed them, doors opened. The same is true for you. When you wake up with no memory but a certainty that something happened, trust that. That is your divine compass. That's how chosen ones navigate. Here's the greater mystery. The more you forget, the closer you are. That may seem counterintuitive, but it's the truth. When God stops speaking in symbols and starts moving in spirit, the language changes. Your spirit is already receiving instructions your mind isn't authorized to hold yet. That's why there's tension inside you, like something is moving, but you can't see what. That's not frustration. That's your soul breaking through the old dimension. So let me ask you, have you been waking up different, even when you don't remember dreaming? Have you started craving stillness over stimulation? Have you noticed yourself detaching from things and people that once felt like home? That's not boredom. It's birthing. Your inner frequency is rising. You're syncing with the version of you that has always been waiting to emerge. Philippians 1:6 encourages us with this promise, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That means what God planted in you during those forgotten dreams is not gone, it's growing, and what was once hidden will soon be manifested, not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. Here's the part most people completely overlook. Chosen one, awakening doesn't always arrive with light, clarity, or comfort. Sometimes it crashes into your life like a quiet storm. It doesn't shout, it silences. It doesn't always uplift, it often applies pressure. It pulls you away from what once felt safe, familiar, and emotionally grounding. And that's not because something's wrong with you. It's because something sacred is being rewritten within you. When your soul begins to remember who you truly are, the version of you that was built for survival, built for fitting in, starts to disintegrate. And as that old identity dies, your dreams begin to evolve too. They move from vague, symbolic fragments to precise, intentional messages. But here's the twist. You may not remember these dreams because they're no longer meant for your conscious mind. They're being embedded into your spirit's DNA. Chosen one, let this sink deep into your spirit. Your soul is collecting intelligence your intellect isn't yet ready to translate. That's why you can wake up feeling like something significant happened, even if you can't recall a single image. That's why your emotions don't match your circumstances, and why some days feel heavier without explanation. You're not losing your mind, you're gaining your soul. Have you ever walked into a room and felt a powerful wave of familiarity, like the energy shifted before anyone spoke? That's not coincidence. That's not just déjà vu. That's your soul recognizing coordinates from spiritual encounters that took place in dreams you were never meant to remember with your head, but that your body and energy still remember with precision. Genesis 41:32 reminds us of the divine urgency behind recurring or deeply resonant dreams. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in two forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. What's firm in the spirit realm is often sealed in our subconscious. Your memory may not recall it, but your destiny is already responding to it. And now you're stepping into a phase that few are willing to endure, the stage where clarity is sacrificed for transformation. This is the point where most people turn back, frustrated they can't recall their dreams, disheartened by the silence, disappointed by the lack of external evidence. But you, chosen one, you're not most people. You've felt the internal rumble, that unrelenting pull that whispers, "There's more. I'm not done. I'm being rebuilt for something eternal." This isn't just about dreaming anymore. It's about reconstruction. Your sleep isn't for rest. It's for rewiring. Have you noticed it? That you don't fit where you used to. That conversations that once interested you now drain you. That you're craving solitude, depth and meaning more than ever before. That's the evidence of internal calibration. Your frequency is shifting, and your dreams, though hidden from memory, are the spiritual blueprints guiding that shift. It's like your system is being recoded, and like any system under upgrade, glitches happen. Disorientation, disconnect, isolation. But it's not breakdown, it's breakthrough. The old shell is cracking because something divine is sprouting inside of you. Look at the story of Paul. Once a persecutor of the early Christians, he was knocked off his path not with clarity, but with blindness. For 3 days he couldn't see, not because God was punishing him, but because God was rewiring him. The scales didn't fall from his eyes until his spirit had caught up with his calling. Or take Carl Jung, the renowned psychoanalyst. He described a period of his life where his dreams were vivid yet ungraspable, pulling him into deep spiritual waters. Those dreams led to the development of concepts like the collective unconscious, which redefined psychology itself, or even Beyoncé, who has spoken in interviews about how her creative direction is often born in a dreamlike trance, where she doesn't fully remember the image, but wakes up knowing exactly what to do. 1 Corinthians 13:12 gives voice to this season of mystery. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully. You're not meant to have the full picture yet. The vision is coming in echoes, fragments, alignments, not for confusion, but to build endurance. Because if you knew everything now, you wouldn't need to grow. And your next season doesn't just require vision, it requires stamina, wisdom, and holy fire. This is why your old self had to forget. This is why you had to feel lost. Because forgetting isn't failure, it's freedom. It unchains you from identities that no longer serve your highest calling. Just like a seed must crack and lose its original form to become something greater. Your old shell had to break so that your higher self could rise. That's what's happening right now. You are not unraveling, you are unfolding. Have you ever felt a sudden wave of grief for no reason, or a random surge of courage that wasn't connected to anything logical? That's your spirit surfacing. That's your real self breaking through the noise. That's divine memory trying to rise, not to remind you of the past, but to reconnect you with eternity. Because what's coming next isn't just for the dreamer you were, it's for the warrior prophet you're becoming. Job 12:22 says, "He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him." You've been shown deep things. You just didn't recognize them at the time. But soon, something unexpected will happen. A spiritual echo, a vibration, a moment of activation. A dream you forgot long ago, perhaps from childhood, or even from before you fully understood dreams, will return. But this time, it won't come as a fleeting image. It won't vanish when you wake. It will arrive as reality, as memory embedded in purpose. And you'll know, this isn't new. This was planted long ago. This is what I was always becoming. Remember Harriet Tubman? She often spoke of dream visions leading her through the Underground Railroad. What seemed forgotten in her daily life would rise in moments of urgency, guiding her through paths she'd never physically walked. Those weren't just dreams, they were divine downloads. And the same thing is happening to you. Your dreams may feel lost, but they are just dormant. God doesn't erase what He implants. He conceals it until it's time. Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt more drained than before you fell asleep? Not in your body, but in your spirit, as if you returned from a war your mind can't recall, a confrontation that left no physical bruises, but left your soul whispering, "Something happened." That is not your imagination. That is not restlessness. That is the mark of divine training. You are not like the others, chosen one. While the world sleeps for recovery, you sleep for refinement. While others escape into dreams for relief, you are being summoned into realms where God forges warriors in silence. You see, you don't simply dream, you absorb, you interact, you engage with dimensions your intellect has no language for. Your soul is being taught in the dark. At midnight, while your conscious mind is quiet, heaven is whispering in code. It doesn't speak in full sentences or explanations. It moves in impressions, symbols, frequencies. And every single night, your spirit steps into a different arena. Sometimes a classroom, sometimes a battlefield. Sometimes the very heart of God's blueprint for who you are becoming. The lessons are not always pretty. They rarely make immediate sense. Sometimes they come as distorted images, flickering lights, forgotten faces, and ancient voices. But your soul recognizes them even when your mind cannot. Daniel 2:22 offers a sacred truth. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. That is exactly what's happening to you. The chosen ones are refined in the hidden places. While the world chases light and clarity, you've been called into the darkness, not to be consumed by it, but to be sharpened in it. And that sharpening comes without applause, without clarity, and without fanfare. Because true transformation is often quiet. And the most sacred revelations aren't spoken, they're embedded. This is why you feel what you feel. That invisible tension tugging at your spirit, that weight on your chest that doesn't feel like anxiety, but urgency, that strange alertness even in your stillness. It's because something divine is happening inside you, behind the veil of your sleep. You've been tested in your dreams. You've been evaluated through silence. You've been entrusted with spiritual simulations that most never encounter. Assignments where you don't always speak, but you still intercede. Encounters where you face shadows that didn't come to destroy you, but to train your endurance. Not all of your dream battles are about conquering. Some are about developing your spiritual capacity to carry truth, to survive when others fold, to remain steadfast when clarity disappears. Look at Jacob, who wrestled with God through the night and was marked by it, not just with a limp, but with a new identity. The transformation didn't happen in the open, it happened in secret, in the dark. Or think of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison, unseen and forgotten by much of the world, yet was being refined in solitude for global impact. Or Maya Angelou, who walked through years of silence after trauma, only to return with a voice so profound it echoed through generations. That's what chosen refinement looks like. It happens away from the spotlight, and when you emerge, the world will wonder how you became so strong without seeing the war that built you. Proverbs 25:2 reveals the divine principle at play. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. Some things are hidden from your conscious mind, not because you're unworthy, but because your ego isn't ready. God isn't training you for public validation. He's training you for holy vocation. And sometimes he even hides your own growth from you to protect the purity of your process. If you could see just how much you've grown, you might start boasting. So instead, he keeps the progress veiled until the time is right. That's why some nights you wake up with no memory of your dreams, but with a knowing, a divine heaviness, a pull you can't explain. It's because, chosen one, your spirit has been in rooms your mind doesn't yet have clearance to enter. And your discernment, it's growing sharper by the night. Even if your words can't explain it, your soul now senses lies faster, detects danger sooner, and craves alignment more deeply than ever before. That's not accident. That's the fruit of hidden training. Take Simone Biles, for example. Her physical training is visible, but what no one sees are the countless hours of mental, emotional, and spiritual pressure she endures to become the vessel she is. Or Martin Luther King Jr., who once said his most defining revelations didn't come from public speeches, but from lonely nights where he questioned everything, only to be visited by a peace that passed understanding. The same pattern is unfolding in you. Greatness is being shaped in secret. Psalm 139 verse 12 says, "Even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you." You are not groping in blindness. You are being refined in sacred shadows. And the reason you haven't been allowed to remember everything is because God is building a foundation that doesn't require memory. It requires weight, integrity, authority. And those don't come from recollection, they come from endurance. So when you feel weary without a cause, when your spirit aches but your life looks ordinary, know this: you are being discipled in the dark. You're not just being educated, you're being entrusted. Each dream you forget, each battle you sense but can't describe, is a test you've passed without even knowing it. And that's the sign of divine training. You don't get credit, you get capacity. You don't get recognition, you get revelation. And soon, what's been forming in silence will erupt in power. Have you noticed that your intuition is sharper than ever? That your desire for distractions has disappeared? That shallow conversations no longer nourish you? That you crave depth, meaning, and alignment more than entertainment or validation? That's because your training is working. You've been fasting from normality without even realizing it. Your spirit is detaching from the world's noise because it's being tuned to heaven's frequency. And now, chosen one, you're being called into trust deeper than sight, faith greater than understanding. You're being positioned for a level of purpose that doesn't need announcement, it needs resilience. Your time in the dark was not punishment, it was permission. You were given access to mysteries most never touch. You've been wrestling with shadows not to be broken, but to be born again. Something is shifting, chosen one. You may not be able to explain it, but you can feel it deep in your bones. A threshold is forming beneath your feet, a spiritual line you're about to cross. This is the moment when what was hidden in the darkness begins to rise into the light. The sealed lessons from your night seasons, the buried instructions from your dreams, the silent training of your soul, they are all starting to surface. It's subtle at first. A phrase you speak with unexpected authority, a decision you make with unshakable clarity, a presence you carry that others can feel but can't explain. You are becoming the very revelation that once visited you in silence. And guess who sees it? The enemy. He always notices first. That's why the pressure has intensified. That's why the warfare around you has escalated. Because the final phase of your training is almost over, and your emergence is near. This is not just a season, this is a graduation, but not the kind the world recognizes. The chosen don't graduate with applause or certificates. They graduate with something far weightier, authority. When your process is complete, you won't just remember who you are, you'll embody it. Your steps will carry power. Your words will shape atmospheres. Your very presence will interrupt demonic strategies and shift spiritual weather. Because this isn't about title, it's about frequency. When God confirms your readiness, He doesn't promote you with fanfare. He releases you with force. John 14:26 reminds us of how the Spirit operates. But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have said to you. Memory for the chosen one is not a guarantee. It is a signal. It means your spirit has reached the weight to carry the assignment. Forgetting a dream does not mean it was pointless. On the contrary, it often means it was too sacred to be revealed too soon. Because in the realm of God's chosen, memory isn't a right, it's a mark of readiness. And when God allows you to remember, He isn't simply offering insight. He's handing you responsibility. He's giving you something not everyone is strong enough to hold. Have you ever felt that electric rush upon waking, your heart pounding like you just returned from something holy and huge, yet you couldn't remember any of it? That wasn't lost, chosen one. It was encrypted, archived by heaven, not to be dismissed but to be activated at the appointed time. Why? Because there are revelations so intertwined with your calling, so potent that if they were released prematurely, they could backfire. If you saw it too soon, you might speak out of insecurity. You might move before maturity. You might share it with those who were never meant to hear it. God doesn't conceal dreams to torment you. He conceals them to protect you from yourself. Look at Moses. Before he led a nation out of Egypt, he had to flee into obscurity for 40 years. Not because he was weak, but because the vision inside him had to mature. Or consider Galileo, who looked at the stars and saw a truth that was centuries ahead of its time. The world wasn't ready for what he saw, and he himself had to carry it silently under persecution. Or even more recently, look at Misty Copeland. She dreamed of becoming a ballerina when few black dancers had ever graced the global stage. Her vision didn't manifest immediately, but in the hidden years, while no one applauded, God was building the bones to carry the spotlight. Isaiah 30:18 says, "Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you. Therefore he will rise up to show you compassion, for the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him." Waiting is not wasting. It's spiritual staging. God is not delaying your dreams because you failed. He's ensuring that when he does reveal them, you won't fumble them. That's why he buries them like seeds in the soil of your soul, silent, unseen, but alive. And when your character finally catches up with your calling, when your inner world is strong enough to hold what your outer world has yet to see, he unlocks the archive. That is why you've been waking up in the middle of the night lately, not just restless, not just tired, but awakened. You felt the imprint of something massive that your memory can't hold. That's not confusion, that's storage. God filed the revelation away because you're not meant to process it yet. You're meant to grow into it. He's not asking you to remember, he's asking you to become. This is why, for the chosen, remembering is never casual. It's sacred, it's rare, it's a form of divine permission. Every remembered dream comes with an unspoken question from heaven. Will you steward this? Will you carry this with honor? Will you protect this from pride and exploitation? Because revelation, when misused, becomes destruction. But when carried with humility, it becomes legacy. That's why some of your most powerful dreams were followed by silence, not because they didn't matter, but because they mattered too much to mishandle. Think of Joseph, the dreamer. God didn't just give him prophetic dreams, he gave him a process. Had Joseph acted on his dreams too soon, he would have derailed the very destiny God prepared. But through betrayal, imprisonment and obscurity, Joseph matured. And when Pharaoh's court called him, he was no longer just a dreamer. He was a man of wisdom, discernment and influence, and he used that remembered dream to save nations. That's what your silence is preparing you for. Hebrews 5:14 affirms this principle. But solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil. You are being trained to carry what others would misuse. You are not being punished by heaven's silence. You are being trusted with heaven's secrets. You are not being overlooked. You are being refined. So if you've been craving more dreams, more clarity, more signs, understand this. God's withholding is not rejection. It is preparation. The desire you feel is not unmet. It's being deepened, enlarged, strengthened. Because to remember a dream is to step into divine responsibility. And that responsibility unlocks doors that talent, charisma, and ambition alone never could. It's not your gift that qualifies you. It's your surrender. And only those who are prepared in secret are promoted in power. Chosen one, the fact that you're still here, still hungry, still watching, means something profound. You are being positioned to remember, not just with your mind, but with your life. The dream will return, but not as a fleeting picture. It will return as you, transformed, ready, obedient, not to show off your revelation, but to walk it out in full authority. The dreams are not lost, chosen one. They have not vanished into the night or disappeared into the ether of forgetfulness. No, your dreams are being preserved. They wait like sacred scrolls tucked behind a locked gate in heaven's library, each one etched with your name in divine ink. These scrolls aren't gathering dust, they are gathering weight. And when that gate opens, when the seal is finally broken, it will not be a soft, gentle return. It will be a release, a surge, a commissioning. You won't just receive revelation, you'll receive a summons. And here's what few are prepared to admit. When God allows you to remember, it won't return as a dream. It will return as a demand. Have you considered that the very clarity you've been asking for might cost you the comfort you've been protecting? That the insight you crave will require the surrender you've been avoiding? Because remembering, for the chosen ones, is never just about recollection. It's about becoming. And some of the revelations you've been desperate to retrieve come with responsibilities that will shake your current reality. When you finally see, you will be required to move. When you finally understand, you will have to act. Are you ready for that? Luke 12:48 reminds us, "To whom much is given, much will be required." You say you want to remember, but are you truly ready for what remembering demands? Because once your spirit unlocks the vision, you won't be able to unsee it. You can't return to your old life, your old voice, your old passivity. Once heaven reveals what was hidden, the world will no longer see you the same. They will feel what you carry. They will sense the fire in your gaze. They'll recognize the weight in your words. the unmistakable mark of someone who has gone behind the veil and returned, carrying a message too holy to dilute. This moment is approaching, closer than your calendar knows, closer than your logic allows. And when the veil lifts, chosen one, you'll understand what was happening all along. You were never just dreaming. You were being sculpted, refined, readied, forged like iron in the night. Every silence you mistook for absence was actually an anointing in disguise. Every forgotten vision was a download stored in your spirit's vault, waiting for your maturity to match your mission. Consider the prophet Ezekiel. When God opened the heavens, Ezekiel didn't receive comfort, he received command. Visions of wheels within wheels, of creatures too complex for human understanding. And yet, he rose with clarity, with assignment, and with authority. He didn't just remember, he became the message. Or look at someone like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who sensed the weight of his calling long before the world was ready for it. He saw what others couldn't, because heaven had trusted him with a vision before it was safe to speak. His obedience cost him everything, but it also shaped generations. Or Maya Angelou, whose voice rose not from uninterrupted clarity, but from the broken echoes of a silenced past. She didn't remember simply for poetry, she remembered to prophesy through her story. Her dreams didn't return as verse, they returned as voice. That's what God is preparing in you, not just recollection, but reformation. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Perception comes before memory. Awakening precedes understanding. And what's rising inside you is not a broken puzzle piece. It's a whole new frequency. You are not being ignored. You are being over-prepared. You're not waiting in vain. You are being woven into a pattern so large your current mind couldn't yet comprehend it. What's coming will require every scar, every long night where your pillow caught silent tears. Every morning you woke up feeling like something happened but had no language to describe it. Every spiritual battle you fought in your sleep, every time you attempted to give up but didn't, that was training, that was alignment, that was spiritual strategy orchestrated from heaven. God was never silent. He was layering instructions into your soul, speaking in frequencies beyond your intellect, downloading blueprints into your spirit, not your memory, because what you carry is too sacred for casual recall. 1 Corinthians 2:9 tells us, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human mind has conceived the things God has prepared for those who love Him." That's why the dreams have felt just out of reach. That's why you wake up with more questions than answers, because you're not being led by surface knowledge, you're being guided by divine alignment. Your memory was never meant to do the heavy lifting. Your spirit is doing the remembering. Your frequency is absorbing truth. Your thoughts aren't yet ready to articulate. You were never meant to remember like the rest. You were meant to awaken. And what you're awakening into is not just a moment, it's a mantle. You were chosen not to carry fragments, but to carry fire. Not to repeat visions, but to walk in revelation. That's why the silence has roared louder than the noise. That's why the dreams feel more like echoes than stories. Because your spirit is now taking the lead. You are not dreaming less. You are hearing more clearly than ever before. Think of Harriet Tubman. She didn't just dream of escape. She became the passageway to freedom. Her visions were not poetic, they were prophetic, and she didn't wait for full memory to act. She followed instinct, alignment, an unshakable inner knowing. You, chosen one, are being prepared in that same way. You don't need the full picture to move. You need obedience, trust, and surrender. So here is the question heaven is now asking you. Are you ready for what remembering will require? Can you walk away from comfort for the sake of calling? Can you carry revelation without flaunting it? Can you hold the assignment in silence until it's time to roar? Because remembering is not about nostalgia, it's about now. It's about embodiment. Once you see, you must respond. Once you know, you must become. Psalm 119:130 says, "The unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple." Your dreams are not random words. They are unfolding light. And that light is preparing to shine through you. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where heaven needs you to be, positioned, hidden, honed, and soon what was filed away will be opened, not as distant memories, but as living instructions. You will speak what once only heaven whispered. You will walk in places your spirit visited before your feet ever arrived. And when it happens, you won't have to convince anyone who you are. Your presence will say it all. So don't grieve the silence. Don't panic in the forgetting. The dreams are still with you, guarded like scrolls of fire. And when heaven unlocks them, you won't just remember, you'll move in power. You'll walk in clarity. You'll reveal the eternal. Because you, chosen one, were never just dreaming. You were being formed to become the dream itself. Beloved chosen souls, as we come to the end of this message, know this. What you've just received wasn't simply information. It was activation. You are not who you were when you began listening. Something has stirred in you, and it's not by accident. You're not being overlooked. You're being prepared with precision, shaped for a purpose only your spirit has been trained to carry. Now is not the time to shrink back into old patterns or familiar fears. Now is the time to stand in quiet boldness, to remain faithful even when the path still feels foggy. Because when the light breaks through, and it will, you won't just see the vision, you'll become the vision. You've been entrusted with something holy, and even if your memory fades, heaven's memory of you never will. The seal over your calling is already trembling. The veil is thinning, and what was once hidden deep within you is about to come alive with fire. You are not lost in the process. You are the process unfolding. So, declare it. Make it known to every realm. Type it in the comments below. I'm not forgotten. I'm being prepared. Speak it boldly. Let the enemy hear it and tremble. Let your soul soak it in. Let heaven shout back with confirmation. You are on heaven's radar. And no night of silence, no stolen dream, no spiritual warfare has the power to cancel what God has planted in you from the beginning of time. Thank you so much for staying with me through this message. Whether you've watched all the way through, shared this word with others, or simply sat in silence letting it speak to your heart, I see you. I honor you. And if you feel led to sow into this ministry through a super thanks, I want you to know it's received with deep gratitude. But even if you don't give, your presence here is already a gift. Your soul matters. Your journey matters. And I'm honored to walk with you through it. As you step into your next chapter, may every hidden seed within you rise at the appointed time. May every forgotten dream return as divine assignment. May your silence be filled with instruction, your waiting filled with wisdom, and your rising filled with heaven's unmistakable favor. You are loved, you are seen, you are chosen. Now go, light up the dark with everything God has stored inside you. Your time isn't just near, it's now.